Okay, right, what is going on everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In this week's video, different settings today. We're out of the kitchen in the sun. I thought I'd make the most of it being summer, but today I'm going to be taking you through my current quad workout and how I am ensuring that I still progress throughout prep and maintain not only my strength but in turn my muscle mass as a result throughout my prep, so I don't end up being totally weak and therefore as a result probably losing some muscle along the journey. So here we go. We're starting off with quad extensions, still doing the 4x20 is brutal amount of volume. I'm staying in control of the changes in direction, so when we're at the peak lengthened, I'm not just bouncing out of that hole and kicking myself out and using the stretch reflex to push my reps and progressing that way. I'm making sure that I stop and make sure I'm using the quad to drive the movement and not the elasticity of the stretch reflex. I'm also squeezing at the top, making sure that I am contracting. As I have mentioned previously, the leg extension is one of the, if not the only exercise where you can get the quad fully flexed, fully short. So as this is a bit of prime kit, I've got some weight on the end range and I'll make sure to squeeze. I don't have to hold it there, but I'll make sure to squeeze and not fall straight out of that. So I'm making the most of using the leg extension to get the muscle short. I'm making sure to stay upright and a little bit leant back, as it has obviously been shown in scientific research. I'm not going to bore you with all that and everything, but this is very important when it comes to quad training. By leaning back, you are allowing for a greater stimulus to be placed upon the quads, therefore growing it. So don't lean over, stay back, and to do so I use wraps, wrap myself in to the grips and pull, as you'll find that you may become unstable without using the wraps, or if you're gripping too hard you can hurt your biceps. I've pulled my bicep before from gripping too hard on a leg press. Okay, so now we're moving on to barbell squats, 5x10. Just working out my hands. As you can see, my eccentrics are very well controlled and I'm aiming to keep the reps continuous. I'm not stopping and restarting the set every time I get to the top of the movement. I'm getting up and then coming down again. And as you can see from this build up of pyramids, as I'm showing you all my ladder leading up to the top set, all the reps maintain the same. I'm still controlling on the way down. I'm still not resting when I get to the top of the movement. Okay, we've got a top set of 170. I actually got 1 rep extra this week, and as you can see, I went against what I just said and I had a little breather, not a long one, but a little breather just to catch my breath and re-brace my core just to get that final rep. So although I'm interrupted by a plane flying over the house, so although I am telling you to keep the reps continuous and not rest at the top, you do want to do this safely. And if you can feel that you may, when the weight gets heavier, you may lose your breath and your routine of breaths may come out, you may lose your brace as a result of this. And instead of dropping down and trying to catch your brace while you're in the eccentric, you can't control all these different things at once, not safely anyway. Just take that second to breathe, catch your breath, re-brace your core, stay tight and go again. The trade-off between keeping it continuous and making sure you don't put your back out and die on the set is obviously more important. Okay, now I'm moving on to hack squat. You can see I'm using a narrower stance as this is putting more emphasis on the quads, notably the outer sweep of the quads. As I squat a bit wider and I'm learning to leg press a bit wider, which we'll see in the next clip, I like to keep my hack squats closer together as I can safely keep my back against the pad and I'm in a fixed position. So why not do everything you can to put as much tension on the quads as possible, therefore getting the most stimulus on the quads and growing them as a result. So 5x10 again, do 2, 3, 4, 5 and then 6¼ plates per side. For my top set, I've shown you the 5 plates and then the 6 plates afterwards, just to show you that I'm not cheating, I'm not going too fast in my build-up sets. I'm treating every set as though it was my top set, just without the going to failure part until we hit the final set of the exercise. This is another key part that is going to become ever more important while you're in a dieting phase or a bodybuilding prep, is that it's standardizing your form. Like I mentioned before with the stretch reflex and not bouncing out of your reps, there's a reason for this. When you're dieting, the first thing that goes is your power. Because you have less fuel in your body, less fat stored, you're going to be less powerful. So those explosive movements may be less efficient, less strong, worse off, rather than your actual muscular strength. Therefore, if you keep your reps standardized and the same each week and you're not trying to overdo your log and progress for the sake of progressing by using power and grip and rip style training rather than actually contracting the muscle, you'll find that your drop off in strength and your drop off in your logbook is a lot less drastic until the latter end than if you went in and just grip and ripped every week. Then you notice a big drop off due to, like I mentioned before, the loss of power from lower body fat and less fuel being in the body, notably the carbs of course. That being said, you still want to try your hardest and lift heavy weights, because this is how you built your muscle, especially on leg day. You lift heavy weights. Although I lift heavy weights for a lot of reps, you still want to lift heavy weights to grow your legs. And although you may not be able to get as many reps, keeping yourself under that mechanical tension, that mechanical load and that much weight under the bar or on the hack squat as we have on this video, that is going to be a very important part, not only physically to keep your musculature and your roundness to your physique, but also psychologically. If you're not lifting as heavier weights, you will feel like you're getting weaker, you will feel like you're flatter, you will feel the prep a lot harder than if you give it your all and lift those heavy weights. Even if you get less reps, as long as you're still hitting around that rep range. If you say this one, I got +1 this week, but if I got a -1, but I still lifted the same weight and I still gave as much as I could to the set and still went to failure, that is going to be a lot more beneficial to me than if I drop the weight to get that 10 reps prematurely before. Obviously, if my strength drops down to I'm getting doubles, then I'll have to do that. Okay, leg press. Like I said, I'm trying to adopt a wider stance for that vastus medialis, the teardrop of the quad. As like I said before, when I go narrower in the hat squat, I have found that I am a lot stronger that way, and my squats are starting to come a bit narrower, I've noticed, and therefore I'm neglecting the inner quad, as obviously I went narrower to try and avoid and minimize adductor contribution to my leg workout and my quad exercises. I'm going a bit wider, not too wide as you can see, but wider than previously you'll notice from older videos. This week we took a 20 kilo progression and we got extra reps. I went a bit heavier because I was knackered and did not want to do as many reps. But when I got under that weight, I ended up getting 2 extra reps and an assisted rep with 20 kilos extra on the leg press. Went from 7.5 plates per side to 8. You can see I'm using the block. This block has been a game changer for me. It not only allows me to pull myself into the machine a lot better without having a bent arm pulling in, which is going to increase your likelihood of injury. This is how I've hurt my bicep in the past. But also having that pad underneath your bum, it helps you to keep pulled against something. You will find that if you're too big or too small for the machine, you'll find your lower back rounding as your bum keeps lifting off the seat, as you're not structurally fitting the machine, if that makes sense. However, having this block in place, it means that although my lower half of my bum is coming up to allow for a greater range of knee flexion, my bum is still on the block and my lower back is therefore not rounding. We're not getting that lumbar flexion, which is obviously safer and means that the tension is maximally placed upon the quads, allowing for the most amount of growth to potentiate, allowing for me to make the most out of my sets. I then did my 30 rep rest pause, as you can tell by the quick speed ups between the sets as I take my 20 seconds between each stage of the rest pause. This is brutal. It kills you off, and I make sure I leave nothing on the leg day. Okay, last but not least, the most neglected part of leg training, the adductors. Although you'll see a lot of people leg pressing, but using their adductors to keep their egos intact and their quads small, you will not see too many people using the adductors. It is crucial to widening that aesthetic from the front of your quads. Your legs will look a lot bigger if you have a large adductor that sweeps on the inside to match the sweep on the outside from your vastus lateralis, the outer sweep of your quad. Therefore, do not skip your adductors, and that is what I finished with. 4 sets of 20, pyramiding up as usual, and my top set here, I think I got max reps from the week before, but I got an extra rep on my previous one. I dropped to 19 from 20 last week, and then I got that 20th rep back on my third and penultimate set. Okay, that is the video. I hope you found these tips useful. Hope when it comes to dieting, these are little cues, these little tips, these little techniques will help you to maintain your strength and grow through your prep and grow into your show, but also to help you psychologically to deal with the training part and process of dieting. Dieting is not easy, of course. If it was, everybody would be dieted, everybody would be lean, and there'd be no point of me making these videos. However, there are certain things that you can do to mitigate loss of strength and therefore maximize retention of muscle throughout a dieting phase. Obviously in the training aspect and not the supplemental and the dietary aspects of dieting. There's also ways in that you can maximize muscle retention, of course. That is going to end the video for this week. Well, this is 2 uploads a week for the 2nd week in a row. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We've got the prep vlogs, and we've also got videos like this, informative, educational videos, as well as some other extra stuff like my full days of eating and other stuff that I will be doing throughout the entirety of my prep before my first show. Like I said, like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss when I upload. Wednesdays and Saturdays, hopefully I'll be keeping these Saturday ones going for a lot longer. Check all my links down below for previous videos and contact information if you want to get in contact with me regarding anything. Any messages you want. Obviously, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below as well. If you want to be coached by me, want to join my team and interested in my services, my contact information is down below for you to check out. But I'll catch you in a bit.